I think when you have a plan and you know what the costs are, that I think it just goes back to have a business plan and have all of this stuff in a business plan and know what you can afford, when you can afford it, and then you could have the opportunities to grow from there. Welcome to Purposeful Podcasting. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Crystal. This podcast is meant to share how we and other entrepreneurs bring together purpose and passion to leverage profit in our businesses.
We are shining a light on adventure-loving, purpose-driven, action-minded, authentic, and rebellious entrepreneurs.
Just like us.
So join us as we talk about business and life and everything in between.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Purposeful Podcasting. I am only one of your co-hosts, Crystal, and I am joined here by my fellow podcast co-host, Wendy.
Hello.
Today we are going to continue with the conversation about the importance of profits in your business, and part of staying profitable is knowing how to manage your expenses, which really led us to the question of where should you prioritize investing in your business, and what expenses are must-haves, nice-to-haves, and then what investments should you just never, ever learn from our mistakes and don't ever invest in. So
Wow, how do you really feel?
How do I really feel about it? Well, because I think if you talk to any seasoned entrepreneur, all of us look back on, and we all make mistakes, or we purchase something or we invest in something, we're like, oh, that was a mistake. That wasn't a good fit. And I think that's just part of a natural rite of passage as an online business owner. But if we can spare you just a little bit, like that's the whole reason why we're coaches. And this is one of the big things we talk about with our clients is, should you invest in that program, or should you invest in that thing, or should you not? What do you have to have in place? What
Right.
do you not? And so I think I want to start with what absolutely do you have to have foundationally in your business to keep the lights on?
Yeah.
Okay, essentially. And I think that the number one thing is you need a CRM. And by CRM, I'm talking about your customer relationship management software. And our CRM choice is FG Funnels. We love FG Funnels. You need something. Oh, Wendy's raising her hand.
And I will put that out there. And I think you were going to get to it. So my apologies for jumping ahead. Is that there are less expensive options to go.
Yep.
Yeah. Though, if you can afford it and swing it, doing it once and not having to do it again is, if you all should have seen just the sinking look on the sinking of Crystal's shoulder at that. But if depending on how much initial money you have to invest, there are levels for that. So I apologize for chiming in with that.
No, that's okay. Because what I think you really need is you need an autoresponder to invest in. And so when we talk about an autoresponder, we're talking about an email management software thing. And this is sometimes kind of boring, guys, but if email marketing is a really big cornerstone of anybody's marketing strategy. Social media is free. Don't build but if the product is free, generally you are the product, by the way, guys. And we always tell you, don't build your house on rented land.
Yeah.
If you have an email list, though, you own that list. That's your list, and nobody can take it away from you. No one can shut down your account. No one can decide on a whim that maybe you have violated community standards when in reality you haven't, and disable you, or there's no algorithm to beat. We always tell people invest in an autoresponder. Again, the reason why we like FG Funnels is it's an all-in-one tool. It has an autoresponder capability in there. So the ability to email your audience. And if you're a podcaster like us, then you need some sort of a podcast distribution player. We're big fans of Captivate. but
Mhm.
that's usually like $19 a month, $20 a month on average to invest in that. These are things that just keep the lights on. So your CRM is where you can attract leads, capture leads, make sales, things like that. Super important, because if you can't make sales in your business, you don't have a business. And then I
That
think
is unbelievably true.
unbelievably true. And I'm gonna let you go, Wendy, because I've just been running the show
Well,
here.
I was no, because this is definitely your forte. I would say that some sort of a website
Yes.
is important. Now, it does not have to have every bell and whistle. I have seen some really cool one-page
Yep.
websites that connect to your CRM
Mm-hmm.
and connect, it maybe it's a one page of information, one page that that captures an email address, a name and an email address, that sort of thing, and a website that grows with you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, and it, again, not every bell and whistle. It doesn't have to be 50 pages at the outset. Simple, and just being able to, simple, functional, and the ability to grow with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, we hear all the time, but what about colors, and what about this, and what about, you know branding is important, but it's not the visual branding that's important. It's, what language do I use to describe myself? What is my vibe? Can I do, are there a couple pictures of me that, or, can go on a website or on social media that really starts to show, what is my business? What is my niche? What problems do I solve? Who is my ideal client? Knowing those sorts of things is really where your branding starts to come in, more so than logo and color and all of those things come with time. And also, it's not necessary to go out and hire a big time branding expert at the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
That is an expense, again, that comes with time, that comes with scaling. And knowing, really, just again, what kind of vibe are you trying to put out there? Who are you trying to attract? And using yourself much more as that branding vehicle, I think, is important. I mean, I know when I started Rebel on the Go, I had to have a logo, had to have a logo, had to have all these fancy. Anyway, we just won't go there.
Well, I
We
think,
just won't go there. I
well, because
spent a lot of money too.
I did too. There's a bright, shiny element of this. It's like really exciting,
Mhm.
and it feels like
Uh-huh.
legitimate, right? That,
Right.
but the great thing about what I would suggest to anybody getting started is, there are great like logo template packs out there to get you started. Because
Canva.
you will, in all likelihood, your first year of business, you're really just kind of figuring shit out, and you're getting the
Hmm.
feel for all of this. Your logo, your colors, your branding, they're going to evolve significantly
Yep.
over that first year. So, investing in right tools and software to make your business run efficiently on the back end, way, way, way better long-term benefits to your
Hmm.
business than investing in logos and colors. Even though that's super fun and exciting, that's
Hmm.
not going to be the big thing that keeps the lights on. So we talked about, like, this is like foundationally, like basically what you need to get started. No, go ahead. You're going to add another
Sorry.
one.
I just keep just one thing just to plug in, that if your niche, or if your specialization requires any industry specific training or certifications,
Mm-hmm.
do oh, did I jump ahead of you
No,
again?
go
I'm
do it.
so
No, you
sorry.
didn't. You didn't jump ahead at
Um,
all.
and because this is really, really important, and we're not talking about generic industry types of,
No.
certifications and programs. Industry specific certifications that, if you hang that up there, people are immediately going to know that they can, well, trust you, and
Mm-hmm.
it adds layers of credibility. And that's actually a really important differentiator, especially in a time where everything is just kind of generic.
Yeah, I think that's really important because we did a podcast episode about courses versus coaching. And I think that when you talk about courses or education programs that are worth investing in, those should be your first line. And I love that
Uh-huh.
question of, does this establish my credibility and authority? In other
Mm-hmm.
words, if I tell my clients, my clients don't care that I did B school. Okay. They just don't. Most don't really even know what that is. That's another, and we're going to get more into stuff, large group programs in a second. But the fact that I am a certified master marketer and I have done certification programs and offer copy and design,
Yep.
that's the thing that
Yep.
gives me credibility as a marketing strategist
Yep.
and as part of our team. Likewise
Yep.
with you, Wendy, you have certifications coming out the wazoo on things.
But but yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think it's something that people also overlook,
Yep.
that if your industry holds something with really high regard,
Mm-hmm.
then you want to have that.
Yep.
You want to have that. You want to have those credentials, that educational component attached to your name.
Yep. And generally the biggest differentiators that I also see with those programs that are worth investing in versus not, those programs tend to have some sort of a certification component of it
Yes.
where you
A
have to
testing
test out.
component. Yes.
Like I know for mine, I had to pass 3 phase tests and a final exam
Mm-hmm.
to be able to hang on to my certification. So it's not necessarily a flat out pay to play service. I mean, I pay
Mm-hmm.
for the program, but it's not a straight up, I give you money, you give me a
Piece
badge,
of paper.
a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big difference, again,
Yep.
in the establishing of authority and expertise in whatever it is that you're investing.
Exactly. Exactly. And I know with my business coaching, I have to be recertified every 2 years.
And
And,
mine's an
I think
annual.
about it, and having a business degree from a university, I won't get retested, but I actually had to pass the classes.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, isn't that, yeah, to get that diploma. And I just think it's important to keep in mind. And especially there are people who are there's women who are transitioning from working as engineers in for corporations, and they're looking to go into consulting. Having that PE is huge. Well, if you're an accountant or a bookkeeper or really an accountant, and you want to spin off and do your tax returns and financial services, you need that CPA.
Mm-hmm.
you know and we really, in the coaching world, it's a coming
Yeah.
it's a coming that there are going to be more and more certification requirements, and it's not going to be as easy as everyone can hang a shingle and say I'm a coach anyway. So, not to beat that horse,
No,
but
but I think it's an important one to talk about because I do think that sometimes we are a pro coach versus pro course partnership. And that's
mhm,
definitely been a theme lately. But I think that's a really important piece to point out that we do invest in education and in courses. And there's a certain threshold of when and why. It's not that we're anti all of them. So,
no, and we're
oh,
definitely, it was interesting because recently someone said to me, or someone asked me, do you have a coach? Because they'd heard a lot of coaches say things like, well, no, I am the coach. Oh my gosh.
no.
No, that's not, that. To be a good coach, I really believe you have to also be continuously going through the coaching process on the other end. No one is ever the end all be all. So I would add that I wish from the beginning that I invested more in coaching
Mm-hmm.
than courses,
Yep.
because I came out of the gate and discovered the online space.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the probably the boo boo the fool sticker on my forehead, and ended up investing, oh, a shit ton of money on courses.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, with one of the courses, the creator, who was also a coach, said, "Hey, can I coach you through this?" Oh my God. Light bulbs went off, everything. And that's when all of a sudden, and actually, that's when things started to happen.
Yeah.
And, it's that's when, oh, wait, I'm getting stuff done. Oh, wait, things are
Yeah.
starting to move.
Yeah. And I think that, well, yeah, because that's what I was going to say, that the next big thing, I wish I had invested in coaching sooner as well. I will say that my coaching investments, if I had prioritized that more off than like courses or large group programs, would have got me further faster and with significantly less money. It's interesting because I think I always
Yeah.
thought at the time too, coaching was going to be so astronomically expensive, it was out of my reach. But if I look at the amount of money that I invested in all these individual courses, oh my God, if I had invested in
Well,
that, like a fraction of that into coaching, I would have gotten more out of it because it would have been more tailored specifically to me.
well, exactly. And the thing is, with coaching, there are so many different coaches and so many different niches.
Mm-hmm.
And there are coaches who charge 25, 50, $100,000 a year. Is that really appropriate for someone who's starting?
No,
I could go ahead and answer that. That's exactly right. No.
no.
And so finding a coach who specializes in maybe your industry or specializes in and meets you where you are is really the critical piece.
It's what we do with our coaching program. It's what we do with our clients. And it's what we even advise people to do when they're looking at going to different programs or different things, is that it's really asking the question of what's your ROI, your return on investment in this program. When we look at investing in certification programs, massive returns on investment because it does a lot to leverage your authority and expertise and build that credibility that you need to get clients. Investing in large scale group courses that are not niche specific and not industry specific really doesn't do much to leverage your credibility and authority in spaces. So I think that leads, so you're going to add to that. Go for it.
No, I'm trying to look at that from make sure that I guess both sides are covered. And I'm really thinking, yeah, you're correct. I mean, I'm trying to think of an example. I think there are courses that tell you very quickly like how to set up your business.
Yeah.
How to set up, do this in a weekend or do that in a weekend. While I'm not sure can actually be done that quickly without massive amounts of hand holding. But for those who are able to do it, which I would not be one of them, what I'm trying to say is, well, I agree with you.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah, no, I was just really trying to think that what could possibly be a pushback argument. I really think in the beginning, the money that you invest is really meant to how do you get your
Mm-hmm.
list going,
Mm-hmm.
investing time and energy into figuring out where your clients live and how to reach them and get them onto your list, get them onto your irritable irresistible. It could be irritable as well. Irresistible free offer, IFO. And, the interesting thing would be there are courses that tell you how to do absolutely all of that.
Well, no, what I think about,
But,
but when I think about that though, too, yes, I think anything that you invest in should help you maintain forward momentum. And
Mhm.
so if you are a
Yes.
personality who could take a course and execute the things side by side with it and maintain that forward momentum in your business and keep scrapping by, then then do it. Where
Yes.
I think there's a stall, and this is, I think, leads perfectly into where I want to end this whole thing with, is what should you not invest in? Okay. What should you not invest in?
Right.
Would be large scale things that are so generic, it's leaving you with more questions than answers. And
Uh-huh.
in that moment, what we see with most people, and it's how they end up our clients, to be honest, is that I want to start a business. It is overwhelming to think of all the pieces that I need to do to get my offer on the ground. I just had a discovery call with somebody yesterday, and they're going to sign on as a new client, and they said, I have to launch this thing, and I am so overwhelmed by the process of launch. I don't know where to start. There are courses that help you do launch, but what they're going to do is they're going to basically give you a checklist of all these things you need to go do, not necessarily show you specifically how to do it, and certainly
Right.
not help tailor it specifically to the thing and industry that you're launching in.
And I think she has that checklist.
No, she has the checklist. It's like she knew I need to, let's just take through a launch process. So she's like, a really small course. It's very specific, it's very straightforward, right? We need to grow an audience, you need to increase traffic, you need to increase some wanting things, strategically. You need to set up the course, record the course, have a place for the course to live. You need a sales page. And then you need and that's just before you even launch. Okay.
Right.
And then to launch the thing, we need email templates and list building things in place that we have. So we have a place to list to. The point is that I don't know about you guys. It's overwhelming just to rattle off all the things that you need to have in place just to launch a little course. So why people end up hiring us often, or why you should invest in a coach that can do those things for you, is that I'm not going to just tell you you need a sales page, and Winnie's not going to tell you you need a sales. We're going to help you create it. We're going to help you do it with you, basically. It's not enough to say, I'm going to just price it at this thing. We're going to help give you the strategies to price it so that it can be profitable and fix it. So I think that when you are looking at what to invest in, what not to, you have a look on your face like, you're going to jump in here. So I'm going to let you.
Well, I was just thinking that sometimes it's also a matter of know thyself. And it's really, there are some people who are able to do things super quickly, super efficiently by themselves, and can take, say, a course and run with it. I can say that I tend not to be one of those people, that I don't, for a number of reasons. I don't like living in a silo. I like interaction. I also like a bit of accountability, things like that, that don't necessarily always come with, but I think it's really knowing who you are and how you operate, and whether, because I think that there's so many different opportunities and options out there for everybody. Just like there's a lot of things that wouldn't work for us. Hey, I hate to say this, but we may not work for everybody. I just can't believe that, but
Oh,
I'll
I
throw it out.
do. I do. Yeah, I
You
think
know,
that, well, I agree. There are big name courses that are very well known in the online business industry that have stellar marketing and attract a lot of people. The problem with those courses or those group programs is that you are just one of many. Nothing is tailored specifically to you or your niche. So you end up with very, very generic templates or outlines on how to do things, or a checklist on how to do things. I did one about how to launch a membership, and I ended up being so frazzled in our membership launch trying to go through it that way, because none of the examples really catered to in the course really catered to what we were trying to do. It was hard to make it fit. So you're really just trying to fit this square peg in a round hole, and you're just trying to like shave it off and take the pieces that work and forget about the rest. And for me, in the know thyself piece of it, it was too many influences in the process that didn't work, that just left me confused and overwhelmed, and honestly really dampened the momentum in that launch for me because of that overwhelm.
right,
I
right.
lost
Yeah.
momentum with it.
I think that also when you're looking and reviewing at options and something that says, I'm designed for coach, business owner, brick and mortar, consultant, service provider, and the litany is pretty much Well, it would work for just about everyone. And I think that, I know the courses that you're talking about, they're very much meant to be consumed by the largest number of people. Now, if you're, for example, a travel advisor and there's a course out there that specializes in, oh, I don't know, Travel Joy, which is a very specific product for travel advisors. And this course is designed for you
Mhm.
and not generic. And then again, as a new person, that may be too sophisticated for you at a very early juncture. But those are the types of things, looking at who provides the course or the whatever it is, or even a large scale coaching program. It's custom, and I think you said exactly what you said. These things are customized and specific to your needs that cannot usually they cannot be used by like everyone. If
Yeah.
someone says to you, this works for everybody, chances are that what that really means is it works for very few people.
Yeah, it's kind of like the marketing for Seth Godin. If you speak to everyone, you speak to no one.
To
And
no
it's
one.
kind of true. If you teach
Exactly.
to everyone, you're really teaching to no one because you're
Well,
watering
exactly.
down to such the
Exactly.
smallest common denominator. We're just missing the
Exactly.
nuance that you really need as a business owner to be
Exactly.
successful. And the other thing is that you end up with templates that don't sound like you,
Yeah.
and you end up with, again, maybe a framework, okay, but you can still get a framework from
Right.
a coach. We give clients frameworks, but we're not going to dump you with an entire course framework just because. We tend to give you the pieces that you need specifically for you
Yeah.
and not overwhelm you with the rest.
The other piece that I think that you're starting out that you do need a presence in social media. One of the things and it's sort of like you need a presence in social media.
Mhm.
You don't need to pick every single one of them. No,
Oh
no, no,
God, no.
no. Try picking one. Try picking one that you're most comfortable with.
Mhm.
Maybe maybe it has the ability, one post to different platforms,
Yeah.
like Facebook to Instagram, Instagram to Facebook, whatever, something along those lines.
Mhm.
Picks one
Mhm.
platform to start with, where you're comfortable and where your ideal client lives. If your ideal client doesn't live there, then it doesn't, whether you're comfortable or not, is not really going to make
It's
any
true.
sense or help.
So
But the
true.
flip of this is that, again, there's also programs and there's courses and all sorts. Well, how do I do this better with this? How do I do this better with that? All these different
Mhm.
things. I would hazard to say, get comfortable with a program, or get comfortable with a platform first. Realize this is
Mhm.
where you want to be before you start looking into, if someone says to you, how to grow your Instagram following by 1,000 people in a month, you got to be a little weary of that. Realize that at least to get started, you're better off chronicling your journey. You're better off chronicling, and there are actually people that you can follow who, on the various platforms, who really are experts. But you start by following them, you get into their world, but you don't have to buy their most expensive, most complex system. I think that that's one of the things. I remember, what was it? Someone who right off the bat had heard, was it Kartra? Anyway, one of the higher end CRMs. And
Mhm.
and it was, but it's not just a CRM, it was the whole learning platform.
Mhm.
And maybe it was, anyway, I can't remember which one it was, but they jumped into it from the very beginning because an expert said, this is what I use, so everyone should use it. They ended up spending a ton of money every month for something that they didn't need.
Yeah.
It was like a total drain suck. So
Mhm.
it's also looking at the most cost effective tools,
Mhm.
and you can upgrade as you go along. And that goes the same way with like social media options, all of it, all of it.
Yeah.
And even equipment that you use. Nobody needs to have a $10,000 microphone at the get-go if you're doing a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are your phone works really well. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Or,
then
I mean, I have,
we have a $50 microphone in front
that's
of us right
exactly what I was going
now.
to
It's
say.
not.
Exactly. And it doesn't warrant the craziness. As you said, there's a lot of bells and whistles. There's a lot of shiny objects out there, and we all want the biggest, brightest, whatever. I think when you have a plan and you know what the costs are, that I think it just goes back to have a business plan and have all of this stuff in a business plan and know what you can afford, when you can afford it, and then you could have the opportunities to grow from there. It's like someone says, you can't be, oh, I did hear this. I can't be an entrepreneur if I don't actually have employees. Ooh, where did that come from? There's a ton of solopreneurs out there who are really successful. And actually, a lot of entrepreneurs ultimately do their stuff themselves. And that's part of the evolutionary process. At some point, you do want to hire people because it becomes far more efficient.
Because ultimately, guys, the most simple businesses tend to be the most profitable. I really, truly,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
needs to be a sticking point as you start scaling with all these teams and things. They do eat into your profitability, and it makes it harder to get. You hit
Yeah.
a plateau that's really hard to get out of, and then a lot of people. Actually, I can't tell you how many people I know who have hit that plateau and
Mhm.
have like massively scaled back, and their revenue is much less, but they're actually a much more profitable business because they've
Mhm.
simplified a lot of things. They've gotten rid of a lot of expenses that they just absolutely did not need. Um,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
things that promised the world that really didn't live up to their expectations. I think that's the one thing that's made our business successful and our clients' business successful is that we run a very lean business and we encourage our clients to run lean as well.
Exactly.
Not to a point
Exactly.
that you're stressing out because Lord knows we don't really stress as business owners very often because we do have great systems in place and automations in place. That's why we use the CRM that we do and why we do things the way we do them. But
Mhm.
it's working smarter, not harder. And
Yes, very
and
much so.
I think oftentimes we think that these big group programs are the answers to everything. And ultimately, what they are is just a big deficit in your budget at the end of the year. And you're having to hire someone to either fix it or to help you clarify or do the thing that original investment was originally promised for. There's a lot to be said about just the one-on-one interaction and that tailored to you servicing and investing in more things like that. And I think after the last big group coaching program, I was actually with a cohort of people. We all ended up out of this program with the same thing. That's the last group. That's the last group course program that I'm ever going to invest in. All of my investing at this level really needs to be in coaching because none of us got out of it what we thought we were going to. We were one of many. There were group calls. So there was a slightly live component, but you had to be one of the very lucky few who could actually get called on to get your question answered. And there were so
Mhm.
many people from all different walks of business, like you said, service providers and course creators and coaches, and different kinds of coaches. There's
Mhm.
business, we're business and marketing coaches and relationship coaches. What works for me as a marketing coach and a business coach, what works for Serendipitous Rebel is not necessarily going to work for a life coach or relationship coach. They're
Right.
different audiences and
Yeah.
markets and strategies that you're going to deploy to get to where you need to go. And so
Mhm.
working with somebody who can see that nuance and then give you strategies tailored to that is really, really powerful at the end of the day. I feel very passionately about this, apparently.
Yes, you do. I guess I think that kind of covers it.
All right,
Very
guys,
passionate.
very passionate. Well, I guess my question really is to our audience. I would like you to write into us and let us know what was the investment in your business you regret the most?
Oh, that is such a good question.
We
Oh
all
my
have
gosh,
one.
that's such a good question.
We all have one, and maybe we'll disclose ours in a newsletter or something. I don't know. Maybe not specific, but until next week, guys, enjoy, and we will see you later. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating.
But only if you liked it. Otherwise, just keep it to yourself.
You can learn more about purposeful podcasting on our website at serendipitousrebel.com.
And if you have topics you'd like to hear about, be sure to submit them on our website or DM us on social media.